That, ladies and gentlemen, is the madness that's going on in the world, mostly due to the American leadership here. Trump and his gang of pedos and podcasters. That's what we're getting. We're getting wars that we don't need to get into. And in this video, we're going to be discussing not only the wars that we shouldn't be in, but Stephen A. Smith, every time he opened his mouth, a lie come out and that hairline go back 2 more inches. We got that. James Talarico, speaking the truth that Tupac spoke some years ago. We've got other foolishness going on with Republicans being so out of touch with the American people. They're still using that tired old line, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. We've got my boy Godfrey with another funny rendition of his rants on Republican folks. And Obama versus Trump, who had the better presidency. That and so much more, and a special guest. It all starts right now.
I'm up early for the dealers come out. Everybody is outside till the killers come out. You ain't eating, you just act full. I'm impactful. Dozen funerals in a month. I got that full. I will give it to niggas in all rap forms. Ignatius out right now on all platforms.
That is right, ladies and gentlemen. You are in the building with me, Lamont Tyson, host of this channel. And I also have another channel that I do for movie and TV shows, because this used to be the channel for movie and TV shows. And I had to move that thing over because once you find something to get this algorithm going, you is not trying to mess it up. So if you came here for me for movie and TV shows, check the link in the video description. That's the name of the channel, Movie and TV Breakdowns. I've already got 11,000 subscribers. A lot of people done jumped over there. You go over there, check a brother out. Let's dive right on into it. James Talarico defeated Jasmine Crockett. Say, what was this, about a week ago? And when he did that, there was a lot of fanfare about who he is, what he could be, and what him looking like a senator would be if he can win. I gave a prediction that this would be the best opportunity for someone to unseat a Republican, but a part of me feels like he's not going to win because he's going to be the person that's going to run for president. Well, he dropped some statements on how he felt about this war, and it sounds very similar to what Tupac once said back in the day. Take a listen.
As a millennial, I saw how military disasters like the Iraq War robbed this nation of young lives, of billions of dollars, of our moral standing in the world, and I worry that our current leaders are repeating those same mistakes. I was in Sand Branch, Texas, which is a community south of Dallas that doesn't have running water. It doesn't have basic sewer infrastructure. So every dollar we spend bombing people in the Middle East is a dollar we're not spending in Sand Branch, Texas, or in our communities here at home. We're always told that we don't have enough money for schools or for health care or for our veterans, but there's always enough money to bomb people on the other side of the world. And so we can support the democracy movement in Iran. We can prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, all without bombing innocent school children or sending our American troops off to die on the other side of the world.
Representative
Tupac said it best. We got money for wars, but we can't feed the poor. And this vicious cycle of Republican ineptitude to save its own people continues to run. Before I go any further, I have a special guest joining me today. This young man's link will be in the video description. He does the best job of reviewing movie and TV shows. He does a way better job than I do. He's professional. I'm not. I'm an amateur. I be giving y'all these silly ass jokes that sometimes y'all don't laugh at, but his stuff be on point. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to the stage is the good brother Eman from Eman's Movie Reviews. What's up, E?
What is going on? Thank you, brother, for the invite. I appreciate you.
Man, I appreciate you, and I appreciate you having the courage, and I'm being dead serious. In this day and age, to be a black person speaking on politics, and you see what they're doing to some of our white contemporaries in politics, it takes some kahunas. I'm going to start calling you Big Ball from Doge. The only difference is you don't mind DEI, because it takes some balls to be up here talking politics, but we'll get back to it. Did you get a chance to see that clip I just showed of James Talarico?
I saw the last half.
Okay. Basically, he was talking about how we never have money to do anything for our people here in America.
Mm-hmm.
But some reason we always find money to go to a war that really don't need our asses there in the first place.
Mm.
In that vein, how do you feel about the statements that Telerico just made?
I mean, where's the lie, right? I mean, it's you can see the pattern every single time, and it's always tied to political parties. In my lifetime, every time the GOP becomes president, we just so happen to go to a war. And what is the commonality in all of those wars? It ain't to fight the greater good or fight evil or whatever. Nah, it's oil, right? It's usually oil. And what happens? I need people to understand this basic thing. You always follow the money.
Always.
It goes to oil and usually trying to pilfer all these other natural resources from other places. And then once the price of oil, because by the way, the price of oil shot up, right? You think that's a coincidence? No. We go to Venezuela, do these acts of, conflict or whatever to get oil. We go to Iran. Why? They got oil. And guess what? They just stopped the flow of crude oil that would affect the gas prices here. But what does that do? It makes the gas prices go up. You ain't finna stop pumping gas. You're going to still pay that high gas. But what does that mean? The price of oil per share has gone up. Who does that benefit? It benefits the rich, wealthy. And one more step, every time we go to war, every time we going after oil, what happens to the economy? In you and my lifetime, every time we've gone to war, what happens? Recession. Guess what? When a recession happens, inflation goes up, prices go up, people lose jobs, bad things happen with the economy. But you know who doesn't suffer? The rich, the wealthy 1%. They find that as a BOGO sale. It is a flash discount sale because guess what? Stocks go down. That means it's time to buy. You know this. When the price of oil and shares go up, who got richer? The people that own those shares and stocks. So, this is a constant cycle where, yes, when the GOP get into office, they love to go to war because it makes the rich richer and it makes the broke broker. And at the end of the day, once we actually do feel that impact, eventually a Democrat comes in, Bill Clinton, Obama, Biden. And what do they end up doing? They usually have to clean up the economic mess that was left before them and usually have to pull out of a war, usually also because of public pressure, because we don't like going to war. It might sound good until it's your son or your daughter or you that have to actually go out there. And yeah, man. So yeah, we usually will find the money to, to spend on the military like crazy, which by the way, there's a whole lot more money put into that than anything else. But God forbid we actually, I don't know, focus on healthcare or focus on paid family leave or focus on things that actually affect your everyday kitchen table needs. They don't want to do that. They much rather, again, follow the money, make their rich lobbyists and corporations and billionaires, out there richer than actually help the American people.
Well said, my brother. And I'll expand on one part of it, the rich people part and the hypocrisy, the nerve of them always telling the American people to not want to have socialism when their greedy asses are the beneficiaries of socialism every time they want the government to pay for their new startup. And let's just say that startup fails. We paying for it, taxpayers. What do we get out of it? Nothing. When they benefit from it, they get to capitalize on the gains. Do the taxpayers get that money? No. Do salaries go up? No. The salaries keep up with inflation? No. And then when inflation goes up because too much money is printed, who do you think gets that printed money? The businesses and the corporations and the rich people. And guess what? They on the back end get to increase goods and services because inflation is up. Then they getting money on the back end. So I just showed y'all 3 ways they socialize money and tell you that you don't need it. Inflation goes up, that's their excuse to charge more. When the money gets floated into the economy, they get their hands on it before we do. And then lastly, when they get the gains from it, they wind up taking that money, putting it in assets and taking loans, and none of that money comes back into the economy. But you, me, and anyone who's making less than, I'm going to say $250,000, because damn near that's middle class nowadays, you get squeezed. And yet, Eman, we still have Republicans voting for this bull job. Diehards. Some of them know better. Some of them don't care. And there's a good majority who know better and is just willing to see Democrats suffer. Black people suffer. Anyone suffer while their quality of life sucks. And what we're seeing right now with these Republicans, it is nothing more than modern day colonizing. As they said in Wakanda Forever, colonizers. We haven't shook that out of American culture yet. You saw what they did in Venezuela. You see what happens when GOP gets control of the office. They go to war somebody that they know they can beat. How many times have they went to war with someone whose technologies and, dare I say, weaponry could match them? You haven't seen them do that. They go to war with people that have resources that they know they can beat, so they can extrapolate those resources, pretend like they're instituting democracy, only to institute someone that they know good and damn well ain't going to be able to run the country. They're going to have to come back and spend more money. So, folks, be informed. Let us know what you think. Post your comments. We've got a lot more to go on this show. Eman sent me a request of something he wants to talk about, and I don't know if I should go get my shoe shine equipment for that subject when we get to it. Should I go get my just for me? I don't know what I should do when we get there. So y'all just gonna have to hang in there and see where we're going with that. Well, Eman, while this administration has troops fighting a war that they shouldn't be fighting, and we know good and damn well Trump would never send Barron or any of his kids to be in the war.
Of course not.
Hell, Trump himself,
President Bone
dodged,
Spurs.
yes, dodged the war himself, talking about he had bone spurs. Well, last night, while our people are over there fighting, you want to know what he was doing? You want to take a look at what he was. Let me show you what he was doing that's got people talking about this person that came on stage with him has a career in politics. Take a look at this.
And God's got us. Trump's got us. God bless. Love you, Kentucky.
Now, he's a great guy. He's a courageous guy and a talented guy. He's a hell of a fighter, too, by the way. And I just want to say, I'm going to make a prediction that you will be, in the not-too-distant future, running for political office. Okay? And you have my complete and total endorsement, okay?
So I guess now there's a chance we see Jake Paul in a political office of some kind? Well, President Trump seems to think so, because at a rally in Kentucky, he had Jake Paul as a guest and said that he's a courageous guy and a hell of a fighter, but also said that he predicts you will see Jake run for a political office in the near future. He caps it off by saying Jake has his complete and total endorsement. Was really not expecting this day, but what do you guys think about Jake Paul succeeding as a political figure in the future after his boxing career is over?
Lord have mercy. Eman, you can have the floor on this one first. What do you think about Jake Paul and the potential for him? And the last fight he didn't he get knocked out? But that's neither here nor there.
By a big black British man.
Yeah, man. What do you think about his opportunities in running for office and possibly winning?
So I think, first of all, this is natural evolution, right? We have declined as a society in terms of our political acumen and what we look for in politicians. We came from a system where it was all about your resume. It was about your credentials. It was about your integrity. We might have differed on policies, but at the end of the day, we weren't putting people that were incredibly unqualified to be in office or hold political positions. We have now devolved into that position. And I say that it's an evolution for Trump potentially with the Jake Paul, because think about it. Trump was never qualified to be a president. He was always a joke the moment he was even considered to run. And he was a reality TV star, right? Yes, he had his little businesses and stuff like that, but he really started to pick up steam because of The Apprentice And that's where he really started to get more on the mainstream TV. But look at the natural progression of reality TV to social media. Now he's trying to endorse a social media influencer, right? Because let's be honest, Jake Paul is nothing much more than that. He's trying to act like he's a real boxer or whatever, but at the end of the day, he's really just in it for the social media cachet. So, you know, I think that it is sad that because of the state of politics that we're in, you literally could have someone like a Jake Paul run for political office. I'm not saying president, but just representative or Congress, because one, they have a lot of money. They can, you know, do a lot of campaigning easily. Two, they have a lot of connections in the political and business world. And three, they have name brand recognition. Sadly, you have far too many Americans who don't even look past that. They will just be like, oh, I know that guy. Oh, he's saying certain things that sound okay. So why not? Right? I'll just vote for him. Let's be honest. People were not really voting nowadays for actual policies. They're voting for tribes. They're voting for the side that looks like them, sounds like them, that they can go have a beer with. And that's why we are where we are today. So do I think Jake Paul has any business in the political realm? Absolutely not. Dude is a walking joke, even in the boxing realm, right? But do I think that, you know, he could actually have a shot? Yeah, sadly, you know, because, and I don't care, I'll say it. There are a lot of dumb people out there. You know, there are a lot of people that are misinformed, ill-informed. And, you know, what did Trump say? I love the uneducated, right? Because we've seen, and this is not a slight against them per se, but we have seen statistically people with lesser education happen to vote Republican or specifically MAGA. So again, it's not a shot, it's just stats, right? So, you know, it saddens me that this is the case, because I've always predicted this too, not officially on video, but I've always said in our lifetime, we will see a social media influencer become president one day, just because of the way followings work, the way that people again are going towards tribalism. It's not going to surprise me before we're 90, 100 years old if we see somebody with millions of followers, I don't know, Taylor Swift, whatever, end up becoming a president just because of followings, just because of that, not because of the actual policies, but because of that. And it's sad, but that's the trajectory.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm at 404,000, and if you want to get me to 1 million and see me run for office, do it, because I can tell you I'm changing shit the fuck up quick. Everything Trump has done to saber rattle that office, to the plight of the rich people, I will be in there doing it for us. You feel me? Healthcare, child care, veterans going to be taken care of. We getting out of them wars. We're going to make sure that all those years that the GOP lied to us about socialism, we're going to get that shit back. And we're going to be taxing the hell out of them billionaires. We're going to change that shit up if I get office. But anyway, on this Jake Paul situation, Eman, here's the issue with this. I've said that we are living in the age of delightment, because what the Republican, and look, I got to say this too, we have to give some blame to the Democrats.
Yeah,
we just got it. We just got it. A lot 100%. Of why we're in this place is because of their asses. Trump and the GOP cheat, and they have conditioned their people to accept cheating, lies, and being dumb. And they've also hyped up religion, because they know that if you can get people to believe in religion, they'll start dropping critical thinking. They'll start thinking they don't need education because they're getting it from the Bible. And Christianity is just one religion out of thousands in the world. And this country is supposed to have a separation of church and state. And that's where you can't separate what you learned in the Bible from what you need to be getting of how this country runs, how economics work, how policy work. But the GOP figured out we can keep these dummies dumb. They'll vote for us. We can lie to them and say capitalism is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and they'll put butter on it. And then on top of that, you have people thinking that no matter how bad things get, no matter how dumb we become, we can just look to our Republican leaders to tell us the truth. and some of the time they don't even know they're being lied to. So do I think a Jake Paul could somehow or another get in office? Hell yeah. And I don't think me and you going to have to wait till we in our 70s and 80s and stuff like that. We ain't going to have to wait that long unless the Democrats can get in here and when they take power, use it. The Republicans do not play on this is the way protocol should be. No, I'm still mad with Obama because he didn't get his judge pick. That would have stopped a lot of this foolishness.
Yeah,
I'm mad at.
I don't like Merrick Garland either. Like even as a attorney general, dude, drag his feet on everything.
Bro,
terrible.
You just heard me say Joe Biden. The next word that was going to come out of my mouth was Merrick Garland.
Mm-hmm.
These Epstein things, they should have took over that. A
100%.
lot of what we're seeing could have been nipped in the bud by Democrats, but they didn't have the cojones to do it. Mm-hmm. And even the way the electorate is made, we need to fix that shit too. There is no reason South Dakota and North Dakota should have the same amount of weight senatorially as a New York, as a California, because the hubs of population are in these cities. And we've got to get them in there to do something about that, or we're going to continue to see these type of people getting in office, winning, bringing racism right to the doorstep, and then to tell people, I'm not racist. You just said you hate Jews. How are you not racist? You just said you want to get rid of DEI. And the way as Black people, the way I look at DEI now, since y'all want to take the word woke and make it a pejorative, DEI for white dudes didn't earn it. That's what DEI is for white dudes. And y'all let us know what you think, post your comments. And we've got so much more. We've got the debate about who had the better presidency, Obama or Trump. It should be an easy thing to talk about. We've got Virginia fortifying their voter rolls because they know Trump is going to try to cheat. We got my man Godfrey, and we've got Eman subject Stephen A. Smith. But before we get into that, ladies and gentlemen, your boy's got a sponsor, and I want y'all to take a listen to my current sponsor, Kalshi. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you ever decide you want to get into the predictions market, meaning you want to bet on who's going to win a Senate race, who's going to win the Democratic nominee, who's going to win presidency, you can do all that on Kalshi. Kalshi works pretty much like a betting app, but it's more strategic, like you're putting money on stocks. They go in here, they have a nice panel. It allows you to see what's hot. It allows you to see percentages of what's supposed to happen. And if you can sometimes catch that one little oddball that you know is not going to work a certain way, you can make a lot of money. My example, I put, what did I do? I did $10 on Telerico. And because of the numbers, I wound up winning $30. That's all it takes. Go down to the link in the video description. Sign up for Kalshi. I promise you, anything that you want to take a prediction on, you can do it. They also do sports too. So this is March Madness. Go take a look at them. E-Man, we might as well go ahead and talk about the walking hairline himself. Your favorite sports commentator.
Come on, man.
Stephen A. Smith. Just every time he opened his mouth, I feel like a toe pop out because he's sticking his foot in his mouth. He done ragged on Jasmine Crockett. He done ragged on Kamala Harris. He seems like he has an issue with Black women. He hardly ever chastises Trump. And you had some things you want to say favorably about Stephen A. Smith, so I can't wait to hear what nice things you have to say about the man.
I love this false setup. Yeah, I mean, I think this is just becoming one of the irritants that I'm having, which it's in the same vein of the whole Jake Paul thing. We are not becoming an unserious country when it comes to politics. The mere fact that people are even entertaining Stephen A. Smith as a legitimate political candidate is a joke in itself. And I'm talking about even people like Bill Maher, right? I've seen people feature him and platform him and put them on their shows or interview him about politics. But the funniest thing about it is he doesn't talk about politics. And that's what I need people to understand. Stephen A. Smith is not a serious person. Matter of fact, and maybe this is controversial, he is the, I guess, Black version of Trump. He has Trump energy. And what do I mean by that? he talks about stuff in politics, but he doesn't talk about actual politics. So he'll come up with certain things that he'll do where he'll rag on the Democrats, which just so happens to be loved by the GOP. He'll do things where he has actually a better comparison. If you follow him, because I followed him, back with his sports commentary on First Take and everything. And I started to notice an interesting pattern after watching him for decades, right? One thing Stephen A. Smith will do, and athletes have called him out on this as well, he will have a certain level of energy and enthusiasm when he's criticizing Black athletes. But whenever it comes to criticizing or coming after white folks, his whole tone, demeanor just changes. If he wants to talk about Kyrie Irving, the weed, this and this, like he got all this energy and hysterics. When he want to talk about, Kawhi Leonard, when he want to talk about, just any other Black athlete that's not doing something that he likes, oh my gosh, it's all hell and blazing and fire and everything. But let him talk about Dana White beating his wife, slapping his wife on camera. Oh, well, I don't know. Let him talk about Aaron Rodgers, who lied to his team talking about he got the COVID vaccine, but he got inoculated. Oh, well, like he gets real quiet as a church mouse when it comes to criticizing anyone white. But when it comes to Black people, especially Black women, Kamala Harris, Jasmine Crockett, former First Lady, Michelle Obama, then all of a sudden, he got to take some time. He got to look at the camera. He got to let you know how he really feels. He got to dedicate a whole segment on that. And this is why I need people to understand, you need to stop listening to the rhetoric and look at the action. When you look at where people put their time and energy into, that's obviously how they feel. I don't care if he sits here and says, oh, but I actually vote for Kamala Harris. Oh, actually, I'm a Democrat. Yeah, but your actions say otherwise. The fact that you like to play footsie with people on the right, the fact that you like to show up and show out when it comes to your brand new friends, Sean Hannity and all these people on Fox News, it makes me question things, especially when you talk about what is your proximity. Because I'm sorry to say it, as pro-Black as I'm sure he believes that he is, he has too many counteractions that make me think otherwise. Your proximity to whiteness seems to show itself more that you have an affinity for that, and you have an affinity for the right, that I can't believe your words when you say you're a Democrat or that you're a centrist. I'm sorry, I can't believe that. And here's the last thing I'll say. When people talk about Stephen A. Smith, or anybody for that matter, but specifically him, notice the running theme, and I just want people to pay attention. What does Stephen A. Smith stand for if he were to run for any president? Do you know? Have you heard any policies that
I'm gonna tell you what
about?
Look, I'm gonna tell you what he stands for. He stands for the same thing that this current president is doing: grifting. Stephen A. Smith is a grifter.
Exactly,
He's a grifter.
and that's my point, right? The point is, this man doesn't even know. You don't even know what he stands for. If I were to ask you, what does Bernie Sanders stand for? Oh, well, he doesn't like the billionaires. He wants to tax the rich. He wants universal health care. You know what he stands for as a politician. I don't know what Stephen A. Smith stands for. All I know is rhetoric. All I know is that he will go after and attack and say the things that white, conservative, far right-wing people want to say, but they can't say without being labeled racist. And whether he wants to acknowledge it or not, he plays that token role for them, whether it's willingly or unwillingly, whether he's acknowledging it or not, it doesn't matter, because anytime you start seeing them sit here and cheer you on, but you see your own people sit here and tell you like, hey man, you cooning, hey man, you messing up, that in itself should tell you everything you need to know. Okay, when I see far right-wing MAGA people sit here and say, you know what, I think I'd actually vote for Stephen A. Smith. Why is that? Why is that? Like, you have to kind of understand where the mindset is in today's world, that people are so tribalistic that they would listen to what he says that is devoid of any policies. By the way, you don't know what he stands on healthcare. You don't know where he stands on any other type of on taxes. Is he just signed a nice fat contract with ESPN? Is he for, decreasing the wage gap between
No.
the far right rich and
No.
and the poor? Like, you don't know none of
No.
that, but you love to hear him criticize black people and black politicians. You love to hear him criticize Democrats. But again, where's that energy when it comes to anybody else? Even if you say you're a centrist, where's that energy for the right? Yeah, if you ask him, hey, do you support Donald Trump? He'll tell you, oh, no, Donald Trump is bad. Oh, yeah, he's wrong. That's cool. Okay, that's great. But how come you don't have that same energy? Why aren't you dedicating full live segments on deconstructing that? If you're a real centrist, and I have no problem with centrists, that's their entitled right to believe what they want to believe. But don't lie to me, when peeing on my leg and saying it's raining. Don't do that. You got too much time on your hands to criticize Democrats only. But then when somebody talks about the Republicans, you be like, oh, yeah, but we already know. We don't have to talk about that. Like, what are you doing? So, yeah, he's a fraud. He's a grifter. I don't like it. And he does the same thing when he talks about sports. He's been called out on it multiple times. And I think the last telling sign you can tell is whenever you try to check his black card and he gets extremely mad. I'll never forget how T.O., called him out with Colin Kaepernick. And he was like, hey, man, Mike sound a little bit, or Max Kellerman sound a little more black than you do. And he got mad. He got mad, and I was so upset that there wasn't another black person on that show to educate him and inform him why T.O. even said that. Because if you remember from the argument, I'm sorry, we're going off a side tangent with this. He was advocating for the side of the NFL that wanted Kaepernick to literally give up all of his rights as a player and as an individual just to go play. And even when independent lawyers said you would be an idiot to sign that contract, Stephen A was like, yeah, sign it. Yeah, what's the problem? What you want to play football, right? Like, what? So it's kind of like, yo, you gonna do that to a black person? You gonna tell that black person, hey, don't stand for what you believe in, give up all your rights, and just trust this entity that has already screwed you over, lied, been caught up, in court. Just go ahead and trust them, bro. How can we trust you? How can we trust you, sir? So, yeah, I need people to just pay attention. When you see and hear anything about Stephen A. Smith, notice that none of it has anything to do with actual politics or policies. It's always about vibes. You'll always see him quoted about criticizing Democrats, but never about policies. He'll always criticize how other Democrats engage with the right, but he'll never criticize the right in any meaningful way. So, yeah, to me, he is a joke. I hate the fact that he is being propped up. I hate the fact even more that he acts like he doesn't realize he's being propped up as a token for the right-wing, far right, and white GOP. Yeah, all of that.
Eman, I disagree with you. I think he knows he's being propped up like
you
that.
Think so? Okay.
He definitely knows.
I'm only taking him for his word. I'm only saying that he acts like he doesn't know it, because if you ask him and say that, he'd be like, man, I'm pro-black, man. I gave to the HBCUs and, I help more black people than everybody. And he'll say all of that jive. So I'm just taking him for his word, and here's the other thing. I'm sorry to cut you off, but like, I'm tired of giving people credit for being smarter than they really are. I do believe there are just dumb people out there. I do believe that some people are just 100% actually ignorant. We cannot keep thinking that people know better when it's been blatantly displayed. So many people just don't. So many people vote against their own interests. So many people coddle to white supremacy just because, I don't know, it makes them feel better. I can't keep giving people credit that they're smarter than they really are. I don't know.
Well, man, you hit so many points. I'm just gonna hit two of them that you mentioned.
Yeah.
So I'll go with what you just said about you can't give people credit for their intelligence or lack thereof. Well, in that same vein, you mentioned that you okay with centrists. Fuck that. I'm not. Not in this day and age. Not in this moment. This day and age, if you was a centrist back in George Bush, sure. Ronald Reagan, sure. But in this moment, this day and age, where crime is on full display with the White House every day, we have pedophiles and podcasters running the sacred White House that slaves built. We have criminals and pedophiles covering up a crime right now as we speak, running lawless. But yet y'all always tell us, obey the law. That cop didn't do nothing wrong to you. You're exaggerating. And y'all are sitting here seeing all the hypocrisy that we've been fed, spoon-fed like babies who got a temperature for years. So I cannot give nobody no grace for being a fucking centrist in this moment. You either for democracy or you're not. Period. And with Stephen A. Smith, he loves to grift back and forth. He loves to, as you said, you have to watch people's actions outside of, I say watch his actions outside of his career. Because he oftentimes cakes up for white America all the time. He does it in little subtle ways. And I'm gonna tell you the ways he does it. In 5th grade, I learned that as a black man, if I use big words, I get the attention of white people. In 5th grade, I gave a speech where I was using words so big I didn't know what they meant and damn sure ain't know how to spell them. But let me tell you something. All the white teachers that was in that classroom sat up in the chair. All the white students sat up in the chair. I got a standing ovation for using like 6 words. I had no idea what they were. Stephen A. Smith realizes that, and he placates the hell out of it. Another thing he does, yeah, that was one of his words. Another thing that he does is whenever they start talking about money, this is another kind of rub the back of rich white men. He talks about how great of a capitalist he is. He's a capitalist. He's not going to apologize for being a capitalist. Like, he's so fucking tough. No, bro, stop it. You're capping for the white dudes. Now, mind you, I always have to preface this to my Anglo-Saxons that follow my channel and listen to me. If you've been here for a while, you already know how I feel. I'm not berating those of you that understand the struggle, those of you that vote for democracy, whether you're Republican or, well, no, let me say, I'm not even going to say that. If you're not voting for democracy, I'm not talking. If you vote for democracy, I'm not talking to you, because in the plight of black people, we've had to have the help of white folks help us. But the problem right now is we've got the bad apples running the roost. And Stephen A. Smith doesn't realize the disparity of the time, the severity of the time. So he wants to play chicken, and one day he's over here, the next day he's over there, but he's always looking from this way, trying to capitalize on his money. And so I had great respect for Stephen A. Smith back when First Take had Skip. And the other person who calls Stephen A. out a lot, besides T.O., stay calling this man out for what he is, Kevin Durant. Got to give it up to Kevin Durant. He stay on this man, as he should. And so, folks, don't be surprised if he tries to run for an office. Because,
but you know, they do that though. He's basically this election cycle's Kanye, right? There's always going to be some little token Negro that's going to try to steal away and peel away the black Democratic vote, which ends up being, you know, I wouldn't say detrimental, but the goal is to be detrimental to the Democratic vote, because we already know low voter turnout always tends to work for the GOP because they're not the majority. You know, unfortunately, we had lower turnout with Hillary. We had lower turnout with Kamala. You know, she had turned some people off. I'm not, you know, that's a whole different conversation, but this is what that is. It's a way to kind of sow division and to kind of be like, hey, let's peel this away. Because even if he doesn't win a Democratic primary, I bet you he'll still try and run to peel some votes off.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you think about Stephen Hairline Smith in the comments section. You've heard how we feel about him, but we want to hear from you guys. And next on deck, the thing everybody's come here to see, Obama versus Trump. Whose presidency was better? Who would win in a one-on-one fight? I can tell you right now, I know who would win that fight. But let's see what the streets is talking about when it comes to Obama versus Trump. Here we go.
Obama did it better. Obama did it better. The new talking point from MAGA is, well, Obama dropped bombs too. Yeah, he did. And he did it better. Obama was able to use surgical strikes and limited military operations to take out targets and not start a fucking war. How about that shit? He did it better. In fact, most of the things that the Trumpies like about Trump, Obama did better. We'll go with unemployment. Obama did better. Economy. Obama did better. Deportations. Obama did better. He was able to deport way more people than Donald Trump, and he's able to do it on 1/10 of the freaking budget. Yeah? And without sending fucking goon squads into American cities. Obama did it better. Obama was able to get across a healthcare bill. Trump can't. Obama did it better. Obama was able to get tax cuts for the low and middle class. Trump for the upper class, for the rich. Obama did it better. So trying to say that Obama did it too on any subject just shows the failure of Trump and the failure of his people to recognize that everything that Trump said Obama did it fucking better. They just don't like that a black man did it better than a white man. And one last point, let's not forget that Obama was able to get Iran to enter into a non-proliferation treaty for nukes. Trump couldn't do it, so Obama did it better.
Well, damn. And here all this time, I just thought Trump was mad that Obama's penis is probably bigger than his. You know, Trump has an obsession with penises. But keeping this thing real, ladies and gentlemen, let's look at the stats. Here we go. Here are some stats for you. Obama versus Trump, key presidential stats. This is Obama's entire term versus Trump's one term, so keep that in mind. Jobs created, Obama 11.6, Trump 6.7. Unemployment, Obama 7.8 down to 4.7, Trump 4.7 up to 6.3. GDP 2.3 average, Trump 2.5 average. Little win there, but not enough to change anything. Now, this is where Republicans get it wrong, especially the ones who don't understand stock market. And every white dude swear he gets it, but they don't. I can tell you that right now. Every Democrat is always better for the stock market because they understand that spreading the wealth around increases everybody's ability to have and own stocks and retirement accounts. Damn it.
Yep.
Stock market S&P, Obama, 166%. Trump with a little measly 68%. Federal deficit. 4 years, Obama had 9.3 trillion. In 8 years, Obama had 9.3 trillion. In 4 years alone, Trump had 7.8 trillion he put into the deficit. Cuts from the deficit. Obama took out 1.4 trillion and dropped that bitch down to 585 billion. Under Trump, in 4 years, the deficit rose from 8.65 billion that Obama handed him to 3.17 trillion. Now, of course, COVID hit, so you gotta preface it with that. But Obama still would have done it better because the reason we had the COVID was because Trump took down some protections that Obama had in place because he wanted to get rid of everything the black dude did. We cannot have the stench of an African-American man in this White House because it's the White House, not the Black House. Healthcare, health insurance coverage, uninsured rate dropped from, 16% to 9%. With Trump, it rose from what Obama dropped it to 11%. Major wars started, 0 and 0. So let that sink in, ladies and gentlemen. For 8 years, America had peace with everybody else. For 8 years under Obama, and for 4 years under Trump. Troops levels overseas, reduced Iraq troops. Trump increased them in Afghanistan. And if you want the cliff notes, ladies and gentlemen, you're keeping notes, this is it right here. Job growth, Obama wins. GDP growth, Trump gets a slight edge. Stock market, Obama. Healthcare, Obama. Debt control, neither. Eman, when you see those stats, and you think about these presidencies, who wins this heavyweight fight for you?
I mean, honestly, I feel like this is a little unfair. Like, and we're not even counting Trump's current year right now.
Nope.
Like, I mean, it's Obama in a landslide. It's not fair. And the thing is that it's amazing to me that if you look at just the facts, just the numbers, arguing against it makes you sound more stupid than anything else. Right?
Exactly.
Like, you could literally have criticisms for both presidents, right? Because I don't think
any
Obama
president
was a perfect president at all.
By far
But
not.
if you are just an objective, clear-minded thinker and you know how numbers work, it's not even a contest. Like, what are we even talking about? You know, I mean, the mere fact that, here's one thing that you didn't mention: Obama actually decreased the racial wealth gap.
That's right.
Well, compared
That's
to
right.
Trump. So in other words, everybody else, all the black and brown communities, people that have historically been discriminated against in an economic sense, they actually started to get more investments with businesses. They started to have more job growth. But it just so happens, by the way, especially in this current year, this past year of this administration, the black unemployment rate skyrocketed. It went right back up. Now, why did it have to be just the black unemployment rate when you have these policies and all these things of DEI being bad and so on and so forth? Like, what are we talking about? What are you doing? So, yeah, I mean, it's barely even a fight. It really is. Again, you can put your personal feelings aside for either one, but the numbers don't lie. And yes, Obama on every single metric, even immigration. And I think that's probably the biggest one right there. How Obama, he got the nickname deporter in chief. Like, how did he sit here and deport all these people and be stronger on immigration? And he didn't even campaign on that. That wasn't even his thing. But he still did it better and more.
And he did it legally.
And legally. He didn't have this. I mean, don't get me wrong. Obama has criticisms that are legit.
Oh,
okay.
By far.
For days. I don't know any president that doesn't have legitimate criticisms against them. But if you're trying to compare the two here, come on now. Like, I'm sorry. But at the end of the day, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, Trump will go down as the worst president historically we ever had. And I'm not talking about personal feelings. I'm talking about, like, statistically, he will be the worst president. He will have the lowest approval ratings. He will have the lowest in terms of actual effectiveness and output. You will see, just like what happened in Germany, you will see people actually regret and actually people hide the fact that they were MAGA, because it's nice right now if your tribe, your team is winning. It feels good. It feels emboldened. But very soon, 5-10 years from now, you're gonna see them hiding. You're gonna see them sitting here being like, MAGA, what's that? You know, like, it's not going to be a thing because there's not going to be anything to brag about. What do you, and I've asked people this too. When you talk about Obama, what has he done for you? Hey, you know what? Pre-existing conditions, being in healthcare was a game changer. If you had cancer and you didn't have insurance and you were getting ignored or denied, that was a game changer that literally saved lives. What can you actually say, unless you're a billionaire, that Trump has done for you? And I'm not talking about these culture wars, because let's be honest, don't nobody care about trans people, 10 trans people in the world who play certain sports. That don't affect your pockets at all. That doesn't affect your daily life at all. But what has Trump actually materially done for you that you can actually say, hey, you know what? This was great. I don't know. Because even when he cut them checks to people, cutting those type of checks, it increases inflation too.
Mm-hmm.
It's a temporary thing. It's not something that's actually good for the economy. Those stimulus checks are not good things. You might think they are, but guess what? They're out of there. Especially didn't he just propose a new healthcare plan where he just wants to give the money to the people instead directly? What do you think these insurance companies are going to do? They're just going to raise their premiums up.
That's it.
What good does it do if the government gives you $2,000, but they don't do anything else about, the rise in gas prices, the rise in energy costs, the rise in healthcare premium? What is that money going to do? It's not going to mean nothing. Now you got to pick between healthcare or feeding your family.
Right. There's people doing that now anyway. I mean, and when white dudes used to always say, well, I'm voting Republican because they're good on the economy and the stock market. I just showed you the data. And I was showing people the data the first time Trump won. No, they're not. They're good at lying about it. They're good at getting on stumping grounds and telling people who have no critical thought, because I'm sorry, anyone who has 3 brain cells that they can rub together and think critically and get beyond racism, get beyond sexism, get beyond the Bible, would know good and damn well the best thing for this country is Democrats. The only problem with Democrats is they don't have big enough balls. That's what Democrats need. Yes, that's what they need. And to sit here and actually let this get in the media, Obama versus Trump, I'm insulted. Like I said earlier, Eman, DEI is for white guys. Didn't earn it, and Trump certainly didn't earn this shit. I'm getting more into the conspiracy theory that him and all these tech oligarchs did a little bit of cheating, because there were some prediction markets that had Kamala losing by a whole lot 2 nights before. And now, lo and behold, we see some of these companies in bed with the administration trying to take over election voting machines and stuff like that. So,
hey, man,
folks,
listen, he is the epitome of a hit dog hollering. However, he hollers before he gets hit. Everything he accuses other people of doing, it's a tactic because he's going to do it. If he says, oh, they rigged it, they did that, it's because he's going to try to do that. Oh, well, they're politically, coming after me. That's because he's going to do that. Like every single thing that he proclaims that people do, it's stuff that he's going to do. And the whole reason they do that, again, shout out to Roy Cohn, who basically taught him all of this stuff. It's a way to just make people, like you said, that don't have critical thinking can't tell the difference. Like people legitimately can't tell the difference between the two, because they're like, well, he said that they went after him and they went after him and he went after them. What's the difference? And they just don't care.
Exactly. And that's why I say, folks, I have no grace for people talking about their centrists right now. No, you're not. No, you're not.
And let me clear that up too. I'm just saying that, like, you're entitled to believe what you want to believe. At this point in time, I agree with you. I wouldn't vote for a centrist because we're too far gone, right? At this point, it makes no sense why we are so lowly ranked globally in education and healthcare and in so many other, in manufacturing. Like, we are not as great as this current administration would like people to believe. The one thing that we're great at is military. We great at going to be colonizers. We can definitely go interfere in other people's countries' business. We're great at that. But everything else, not so much.
Exactly. And speaking of colonizing, people, please post your comments. Who was the better president? I mean, this should be overwhelming, like 8-2. But speaking of colonizing, Eman, we're going to talk about this man right here who's trying to go colonize something. I wish he'd just take his ass, put all the GOP and MAGA in a ship and go colonize Mars and don't come the fuck back. Go. But before we do that, ladies and gentlemen, I want to take the time to, as always, thank Eman for coming and having enough courage to come on this show. And anyone that wants to get some questions ends up here, we take super chats at the end. And Eman, this time around, you've come. I've reached 250 viewers live versus the last time I think we had like 50 in total. And so I appreciate you for coming and rocking this show with me. And by the way, for those that don't know, I trade stocks every single day. So everything Eman was talking about in oil, I'm up 5:30 in the morning, looking at the NQs, looking at the ESs, looking at the CLs, monitoring how the institutes do gas. And like the last 3 days, gas pre-market has been through the roof. If you're trading pre-market, you can make so much money. And then at the open, institutes move out of that and they circulate. A lot of it has been in bonds. So when they buy bonds, the yields go down. When they come out of bonds, the yields go up. And when the yields go up and they come out of that bond money, that has an effect on tech. And that's what they've been doing. They've been doing what you call rotating. But if you want to learn, link is in the description. You can get on one-on-one with me. I've taught a lot of people and a lot of people have done well, but I don't do a lot of it. So I'm only taking about 3-4 people a week. So you guys just jump in there and let me know. Next thing we're going to cover is Elon Musk and this Doge thing, because this was a lie too, ladies and gentlemen. They came in, they said they was going to trim the fat and all that, and they wound up spending more than what they did. And because of them and the US ID, ladies and gentlemen, we are more vulnerable right now to all kinds of domestic attacks from terror than we've ever been because of the jobs that they cut. And I do believe this is by design, because Trump is looking for anything to hold up those midterms. And I do believe that they're wanting someone to come in here and attack us. But right now, we're going to attack them and let you guys know just how dumb they are. As I just told Eman, people don't have no critical thinking skills. And you can tell because this is a guy that was interviewed who worked for Doge by a lawyer that worked at Doge, cannot tell you what the hell DEI means. Take a listen to how this dude is squirming like a snake under a rock. Listen to this.
Now, do you have an understanding of what DEI is?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your understanding as you sit here today in this deposition?
Well, it was exactly what was written in the EO. And so anytime that we would look at a grant through the lens of complying with an executive order, we would just refer back to the EO and assess if this grant had relation to it.
Okay. But I guess I'm stepping back from your methodology strictly in terminating the grants. Do you have an understanding as you sit here today of what DEI means?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your understanding of what it means?
Well, it is exactly what was written in the EO.
Okay, so
and I don't have the EO in front of me, but that was we would always reference back to the EO and make sure that this grant was in compliance with the EO.
I understand that. Okay, but I'm not asking necessarily about what was in the EO. I'm asking very specifically about your present understanding of what of DEI. Do you have a present understanding of DEI?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you explain what that present understanding is?
Well, it is just easier for me to be referencing back to the EO. It is not for the benefit of humankind. It is focused on a specific group or a specific race, here being black.
Why would learning about anti-black violence not be to the benefit of humankind?
Objection.
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay, then what are you saying?
I'm saying it relates to diversity, equity, and inclusion.
You said it's not to the benefit of humankind, right?
Is that what I said?
Yeah. Folks, I'm not laughing because it's actually, I'm laughing because this is what I'm talking about. White dudes, DEI for them, didn't earn the shit. He couldn't even tell you what the acronym meant. Then he wanted to put DEI all on black people, which is not just about black people, ladies and gentlemen. Then he wanted to try to humanize it by saying humankind. But this are your incel QAnon folks who sit in fucking bubbles and talk to each other about how they think black people, brown people, women are stealing everything from them and how they can't get laid. Having said that, E-Man, I give the floor to you because I could go off on this dude and that Supercuts #7 fucking haircut, but I give the floor to you. I give the floor to you for right now.
I mean, listen, this is, in philosophy, there's this thing called a straw man argument. And a straw man argument is typically when you take the opposition's position and you don't frame it correctly. you create a whole different argument that's easier for you to defeat. Like it's like punching a straw man, right?
Yeah.
So what the GOP and far right MAGA folks have done is contorted this idea that DEI, and this is also what Charlie Kirk was referring to as he disingenuously did this too. They tried to redefine DEI as some sort of effort to hire people not based on merit, but only based off of gender or skin color or race. And that has never been the actual definition. But think about it. If you use that distorted definition, that does sound bad, right? But the problem is no one actually does that. That's not something that happens. So, for example, when Charlie Kirk used to sit here and talk about, boy, I'd be concerned if my pilot was black, because his assumption is that a black pilot would have gotten the job without actually earning it. That's racism. Because last time I checked, and I actually have friends that are pilots, you don't become a pilot unless you pass the tests. You can't even get in the cockpit unless you pass the test. You get your hours, you get your credentials. You can't get there. It doesn't matter what you look like. If you don't have the credentials, you can't sit in that seat. So the mere fact that you even assume that someone who's in that seat, who again can't get there without their credentials and merit, that leads the only conclusion of racism. So this whole idea of DEI being merit-based or lack thereof, it stems from misogyny, it stems from sexism, it stems from racism, it stems from all different forms of bigotry. Because last I checked, have you seen any effort put into legacies at universities? They came after DEI when it came to affirmative action. Oh, you can't put people in because of race and ethnicity. No. But I ain't heard them say 2 words about legacy admissions, where basically if your daddy went here, if they gave a whole bunch of money and stuff, you get to come in too. Doesn't matter what your score is. Doesn't matter if you're a dimwit. It's cool. We'll give you that kind of affirmative action. And let's be honest, the people that benefits are usually rich, white, and usually male. So this fact that he doesn't or can't, I wouldn't even say can't, he can define what DEI is. He refuses to do it because it would be an admission that he's actually racist. Because if you look at just the words, and I tell people this all the time, if you want to have a conversation about DEI, tell me what the letters stand for. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. What is the opposite of those words? The opposite of diversity is just
division.
You just want one type of person, right?
Yep.
So it's isolation where you're not having any of that. The opposite of equity. Equity basically means we want everything to be fair for everyone. We want fair opportunities given to everybody, fair access. Well, if you want the opposite of equity, then you don't want fairness, right?
And they don't want that.
Yeah,
and they don't want it.
If you don't want inclusion, which is basically saying, hey, everybody's welcome, you're all able to sit at the table, that's exclusion. So you want to exclude people, you only want to have one type of person, and you don't want it to be fair.
Nope.
That's what the opposite of DEI is. So when you are anti-DEI, you are basically saying, I want one type of person, nobody else, and it doesn't have to be fair. That's what I want. And let's be honest, that goes right back to being racist, sexist, and bigoted. So,
and it also goes right back to being the GOP, because that's what they
right now. That's their position. They hate DEI.
And Stephen Miller has came out and said he wants to eradicate he wants to get the American population down to about 100,000 people, because they want to stay in control of the goods and services. They want to be on top. They want to be made to feel special. And if you get rid of some of these people, they can keep that position of privilege. By saying all those things, Eman, you just basically said what he didn't want to say. They know good and damn well they're privileged. They know it. And I always tell people who say, well, DEI this, DEI that, I always do the same thing you did. Do you know what DEI means? Or is that just a pejorative now too? Do you know what the acronym stands? Do you even know it's an acronym? One dude told me DEI was a DUI. I was like, dude, they're not the same thing. One means you're driving under influences. The other one is diversity, equity, and inclusion. You nitwit. You're the problem why we need better education in schools, period. And that's what this comes down to. Critical thinking, education, and wanting things to be fair and equitable for everybody. And there is a slice of society that know that they have white privilege, because they'll be quick to tell you there's no such thing as white privilege, but they quick to fight for it. They quick to fight to keep that position of privilege, but they'll tell you that it doesn't exist. And so, folks, let us know what you think. Not to mention, man, how this DOGE front got all these people's, it's got everybody's information. Trump is just using technology geeks that supported him as a slush fund, enriching everybody. And as we've said this whole entire show, some Democrats is going to have to get in this office and have the balls to take them down. I'm about 70% sure everybody that paid this money to help Trump is in them Epstein files, and they got shit that they don't want to come out. They do. Mm-hmm. And that's why you seen Elon Musk up there jumping like a little girl who just lost her virginity, up there cackling and squinting around. Look, bruh, sit your ass down somewhere, bro. Get off that ketamine. But anyway, folks, let us know what you think. This man didn't know what DEI was. And the fact that me and Eman have to defend what DEI stands for is the epitome of a nation losing its education. Speaking of out of touch GOP folks, Eman, I got another one that is just saying all the things I've been known since I was about 28. And folks, I'm in my 40s now. But people used to say, Lamont, no, you're wrong. And the thing about me is I have the persona of Batman. I see the bad in people. I don't see the good. E-Man see the good. He's Superman. E-Man Superman, I'm Batman. E-Man see the good in everybody. I see the bad. And I used to tell people when the GOP say this stuff, they're lying. They're lying or they're projecting their behavior. That's what they're doing. So here's a guy giving us the same old trope, E-Man, pull yourself up by the bootstraps. Only difference is he's remixing it in a different way to say it. Take a look.
And people living in poverty are just not very, they're not very experienced at navigating the real world, right? I remember talking to one young lady who said, well, I don't really know how money works at a grocery store because she grew up and has lived all of her adult life using SNAP cards to buy groceries. And so you literally have to teach people how to budget. If this is the buzzword today, let's face it, it's affordability, right?
E-Man, Trump has taught these people well. That basically what he just did is a straw man statement. Yep. We can't go verify you talked to some woman who her whole life she's used the EBT card. Right. And that's just stupid. You have to make purchase, especially if you got kids. And most women who get the EBT have kids. Mm-hmm. You have to go buy medicine. You've got to go buy things that the EBT can't buy. And it could be true that some people don't know how to manage money properly. But it damn sure ain't at the expense of a social program that's highly needed and highly recommended. I mean, one could easily say, E-Man, that you grown-ass Republicans and senators don't know how to manage money because look at this fucking deficit. Floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's definitely coming from a very elitist position. It is definitely coming from someone who sounds incredibly out of touch. I mean, I know people that don't know how to deal with money. Like financial literacy is not the most common thing. It's not even really taught in schools like that. So, you know, if you're sitting here with the assumption that people should know these things, then that just lets me know you're probably coming from a place of privilege where maybe it was talked about in your household because maybe the people in your household did not have to go over or did not have to overcome certain socioeconomic challenges that other people do. So yeah, it's definitely short-sighted. It's definitely do we know what district he comes from, or like
he's a senator in Ohio. He used to be lieutenant governor.
All right, yeah, okay. Let me know when you talk to like real poor people, you know, that don't look like you, and you actually understand their real lived experiences, because it's very easy to come from a place of privilege. And I'm not even talking about, oh, I'm privileged because I'm rich. I'm talking about social privilege, whereas you don't have to consider the fact that your race or maybe even your gender is a barrier in certain things in life. The fact that you don't have to think about that, that is a privilege. It's a social privilege. So it sounds like this dude is completely out of touch. He's not really in tune with the real struggles of actual people that go through things. It sounds like he ain't never had to deal with, living on SNAP or EBT. So yeah, he's a clown. I don't even know who elected him or why.
Well, like I said, he was lieutenant governor. That probably helped him become a senator. And in situations like this, these people are some of the most out of touch folks as possible. I mean, like, they stay in this DC bubble. And this is why I contend we ought to start having a pedigree where we need to enforce DEI into the electorate. We need to have a third of the people elected making less than $100,000. We need to have some teachers in there, electricians, folks who own small businesses. We need more of that in office because they are a better barometer of what's going on in the real world than these folks that get caught up in this bubble and don't understand what is going on. Like, for real, he's talking about he went to a grocery store and met somebody with EBT. Eman, does this look like the type of person that'll go to a grocery store where most people
don't know the cost of milk? Stop it.
No.
You don't know. You don't know the cost of eggs right now.
Stop it. Just stop with the lies. And we've got to vote these people up out of there. The lie that just bothers me the most with Republicans is they are always telling people two things. Capitalism is the greatest system ever formed, and that all you have to do in America is pull yourself up by the bootstraps.
Well,
that's the biggest lie.
Hold on. I actually support capitalism, right? I don't have a problem with capitalism. And to be honest, I don't think most Democrats do either. The problem is when it becomes corrupted. The problem is when it gets greedy. The problem is when it goes unchecked. That's when and here's the thing. That's the case with any political ideology. Because even for the people that want to sit here and be like, oh, so you go live in a socialist country, then, what are you talking about? So you hate the police? You hate fire departments? You hate, like, the public school? Like, what are you talking about? You don't call 911? That's socialism, right? So all of these political ideologies, they're not evil. They're not bad. The extremes are problematic. But if you have a healthy mix of a little bit of this, a little bit of capitalism, a little bit of socialism, a little bit of this and that, that's actually how you make a more perfect union. So I need people to understand, stop listening to these talking points, not from you per se, but I'm just saying in general, when they talk about socialism or capitalism, people are talking about extremes. Those extremes are bad, but like the little mixes of other things, man, come on. That America is founded on the idea that you can go build up a business and get as rich as you need to. But what we do need is limitations. If you're going to get that rich, we would love for you to kind of give back, actually pay your fair share in taxes, and not just kind of scapegoat it because you don't have income being taxed and your wealth is your actual source of income. But that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, I feel you, bro. Go ahead.
So what I was going to say is we need capitalism with guardrails. Capitalism is broken right now. We need it with guardrails. And you took the rest of what I was going to say. We need it balanced properly. If you're going to continue to let the rich socialize all the money, you damn got to do it for the regular folks in middle class. I mean, and I use this example over and over and over. And this is actually where I can get through to some Republicans. It makes no sense to me that you've got a mom and pop who are barely making it, been in a community for 15 years. They don't get anything from the local government, nothing. Amazon can come in and they're ready to give Amazon 10 years, no taxes, and give them money up front to put a structure in that community to the tune of millions of dollars. Everything Amazon could do, you could go around and give those millions of dollars to the local people who have been holding up that community, and they can do maybe not the same thing Amazon does, but they can have just as great an impact in that community. And why are we giving Amazon millions of dollars when they're one of the highest per capita companies in the world. Why are we doing that? And that's what I mean when I say we need guardrails around capitalism. We need a mix of capitalism with socialism so that everybody can thrive and not just a few, so that we can stop having these K-shaped economies. And if you hear what I'm saying and you don't know what that shit is, you are some of the people I'm talking about that need to get some critical thinking. Go look it up. I'm not going to tell you. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, we'll end on a funny note. My man Godfrey does some great political commentary, and most of the time it's funny. Every now and then he be on that D knowledge, but for the most part, he's my guy. Here he is talking about Trump, and y'all let me know if you get a kick out of it.
I don't want to brag, but you know, they say it about a lot of things.
No, I don't want to brag, but you know, they've said this about a lot of things.
But no other president can get away with this I'm doing.
No other president could do some of this I'm doing.
No other president.
No other president.
Things I'm doing nobody else is going to do. They say it all the time. Sir, can you do this? You're the only one that can do it.
The things I'm doing, nobody else was going to do it. They say it all the time. Sir, could you do this? You're the only one can do it.
Yo, the fact that he says curse words is insane. Diplomacy is out the window, man. No one could get away with this I'm getting away with. He's basically going, I can't believe you motherfuckers are letting me do this. That's what I think he's saying. And people like, yeah, I voted for this. Wow, he said no other president is doing this. No other president. You're right. No other president is walking around treating their own people like You're right. I'm not saying all other presidents were perfect, because every president got some up about them. But you are probably the first president that didn't give a about anybody but yourself. Anybody. At least some presidents gave a about some people. You said them all. Yeah, that's the difference.
Well, he's not. That's not true. That's not true. He does care about the billionaires. He cares about that his wealthy friends, that big beautiful bill that directly impacted them, that gave a vast majority of tax cuts to the rich. He does care about that. He looks out for himself and the rich billionaire class. So that is, we got to be at least fair about that.
Right. That was one of the biggest transfers of wealth this nation has ever seen, that big beautiful bill. And I think what just frustrates the hell out of us folks who do have some intelligence, what is it that makes people vote against their own interests over and over? Is it because Republicans make you feel good? Does feeling good pay your bills? Does feeling good help you when someone in your family gets sick with cancer and then your health care can't cover it? Does feeling good help you when we need human health services in the local community and you can't get it? Does feeling good make you feel good in those moments? It's the question I've got to ask people.
But they own the libs. They own the libs. They got that check mark, and we got your libs. You know, so we might be broke. We might not actually get any material, outcomes, but we owned you. So to your point, yes, it is feelings. It's all feelings. I've asked people straight up, what has this administration done to make your life better? Not your feelings, not, they got rid of all the immigrants and that has nothing to do with how you live your life every day. I mean, it does, because it raised up inflation, by the way. It did raise up the unemployment rate. But what positive thing? How's your health care going right now? I don't know about y'all, but my premiums went up, right? Like, what are they doing that's actually really good for you? Nothing. Outside of just these wins against the Dems and the Libs, like, what can you point to? Is your 401k getting better? Do you even have a 401k? Right? Like, is your pocketbook getting a little bit bigger? Like, is your health care getting a little bit? What are you looking at? What is it? Point to something.
The racism makes them feel better. The fake ass strong man makes them feel better. Destroying DEI makes them feel better.
Yeah.
But what they don't know, by destroying those things, you're also affecting your pocketbook, and you just don't know it, or you know it and you don't care. And you know what? Your day in the sun is going to come where you're going to get sunburned, and I'm going to be right here to say, I told you so. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get out of here on that. I want to give a big thank you and a shout out to my man Eman for coming through, having the courage. Puts out a great YouTube channel doing movie and TV show reviews. Eman, what you got coming on your channel that anyone here can come and take a look at?
Yeah, no, for sure. Definitely come through. We're doing live breakdowns on the entertainment news in the world on the weekends, every Friday and or Saturday. And from, man, one of the best TV shows you have not been watching. You need to be watching from the very beginning, season 1, all the way up to season 3, because season 4 is about to drop, and I'm gonna be all over that.
Man, Eman, God,
don't tell me you ain't been watching from.
I've never seen a single episode. Never.
Okay. Stop. Time out. Everybody, time out. I need you to do the From challenge. The From challenge is super easy. Okay. You look at the first episode, watch the first 8 minutes. If you are intrigued, or if you are curious, or if you're like, what the hell? What else is that? You will know if this show is for you or not in the first 8 minutes. If you want to know more after those first 8 minutes, you have to watch the whole first season. Now, if you don't like it, if you're like, man, no, I ain't messing with this. This is weird. I don't like it. Put it down. Don't even watch it. But that's the challenge. Watch the first 8 minutes. And if you are remotely interested, watch the whole season. I guarantee you'll be hooked. I guarantee it.
Golly, I'll try to get it in, man.
You gonna do it? I'm gonna send it to you if I'd have to.
But
you gonna be hooked.
It's
a promise.
I'm reviewing. Take a listen to this list. Take a listen, and if you guys want to come check me out on my new, well, it's not new per se, but I'm converting this channel we're on right now from movie and TV shows to politics, because politics has finally dominated the way I want it. And I'm moving all my movie review people who met me from Power and some of the other shows I review over here. Eman, I'm reviewing Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, fantastic show. HBO wanted me to do DTF St. Louis, but I can't squeeze that in. I'm doing Paradise with B. Avery. I'm doing The Pit. That's the one HBO put me on because I was like the biggest fanboy for that last year. I'm doing that. Invincible is about to start. Doing that. Daredevil is about to start. I'm on that one. Then we've got one of the greatest sci-fi films that you're going to ever see. It's about to take some Oscars. Hail Mary is coming out. I'm on that. So it's and then Shrinking. Harrison Ford.
All of that's cute. All of that's cute. Oh. It don't hold a candle up to From. I promise. Listen, when you start From, you're not going to be able to put it down. It's going to make all these other shows feel like background TV.
And one more show we're doing.
Don't take my word for it. Just watch the first 8 minutes. That's it.
And we're also doing Cross season 2, me and B. Avery. And that show is fantastic.
I liked it. It was a good little show. It was fine.
Oh, okay.
It was fine. Well, I'm not saying those shows are not good.
Yeah.
I'm just saying From is that it's about that business. Okay. It's about that business.
What network?
It's on MGM Plus, but you can sometimes they'll also shift it to Amazon Prime. So you can watch it on either one of those.
I got MGM Plus. I reviewed Godfather Harlem on MGM. Fantastic show right there too by itself. Great show. So ladies and gentlemen, we are multifaceted. You know, this is something Black people have had to do for the longest time. We've got to go above and beyond just to get 2 steps. And that's what we do here. Holding it down with 2 channels. Don't forget to like the video. Until that next sexy as hell political review video, we're
somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body. Somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body. Somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body.